Let's get started on the other news. Another mass shooting. Investigation into racially motivated shooting that occurred. There's newly released security footage showing the moment a self-proclaimed white supremacist shot and killed 3 black people at a Jacksonville Dollar General store before killing himself on Saturday. Of course, this is the United States of America. You know, everybody does shootings. But, of course, you know, white supremacists do way more than other groups. The far right is very good at racially targeted, racially motivated hate crimes. And, you know, that's what's going on. The kid, as far as I understand, the white supremacist piece of shit, he originally went to a historically black college and security told him to fuck off. So then he moved into a Dollar General store. The reason why his manifesto is out and about in broad daylight is because he released it. He released it ahead of time. So if you come in here and you want to debate and be like, what about the trans shooter in Nashville? Like, well, they didn't release it. So there's not really anything you can go off of there. It's clearly not racially motivated. The swastikas on his gun weren't drawn clearly. Right-wing nutters. Yeah, right-wingers have been going crazy mode on this, of course. Not defending it, but saying, don't make this political. Don't make this political. What does this have to do with, you know, right-wing violence? I don't get it. Speaking of which, though, of course, we are in the United States of America. More than 25,000 people have been killed in gun violence so far in 2023. And more than half of all gun violence deaths this year were deaths by suicide, as always. So just remember that. What do you mean 25K? What the fuck? Guys, there have been 131 mass shootings with 4 or more people wounded or killed so far in 2023 as well. We're breaking records, baby. #1 country on the planet. Best at doing white supremacist acts of violence. Best at doing mass shootings. Best at gun violence. Best at gun deaths. 25K by August is pretty high, I think. Yeah, it is. But I'm saying that, like, guys, this is the United States of America, baby. If they were telling me, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people are dying to heart disease, I'm like, yeah, of course that's the case. You know, we're America. Just in as of this past weekend, the United States has now eclipsed 25,000 plus gun injuries for the year, an average of over 100 non-fatal shootings each day. From the Gun Violence Archive itself. Now, obviously, a lot of these different trackers have different metrics. That's why you'll see like 28,000 in certain points, or you'll hear 25,000 in certain different points. But, you know, let's get started with this one. An investigation is being conducted into the racially motivated shooting. As you guys already know, when the cops immediately in the aftermath of a shooting say that this was racially motivated, you bet your fucking ass it was racially motivated. So much so that, like, the kid literally was probably saying, the dude, whoever the fuck it is probably saying, I am here to do a racially motivated shooting, okay? Because it's not like police are you know, really excited at the prospect of immediately saying this is a hate crime. They're not. If anything, they themselves engage in a lot of that themselves and would rather not say that something is a racially motivated shooting unless it is very obviously racially motivated. He literally had swastikas on his gun, as far as I understand, yes, and he released his manifesto to the media beforehand. So very clearly what happened in this situation is yet another instance where it's like very clearly telegraphed as a racially motivated white supremacist act of violence.
This morning into the racially motivated mass shooting in Florida. A white gunman killing 3 black people in a dollar store and then turning the gun on himself.
Community leaders gathered last night to remember the victims, including a 19-year-old store employee, along with a young father of a 4-year-old girl. Alex Prochet is live in Jacksonville with the latest. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Robin. Yeah, the family of that young father is in shock. This community is hurting. One resident telling me yesterday that the only thing getting her through right now is faith.
This morning, this newly released security footage shows the horrific moment a self-proclaimed white supremacist shot and killed 3 black people at a Jacksonville Dollar General before turning the gun on himself. Authorities investigating Saturday afternoon's deadly rampage as a racially motivated hate crime, one that has left this predominantly black neighborhood reeling.
Our community is grappling to understand why this atrocity occurred. I urge us all not to look.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that confusing. I'll be honest. Like why would it be at this point? I mean, it literally happened. It happened in Buffalo. Identical terms, identical conditions, identical terms. fuck it, even the dude looks the same. You know what I mean? It's always the same disgusting little fucking basement-dwelling Nazi cretins that that are so personally wronged. Like, they spiritually feel like modern society, modern liberal society has wronged them for not giving them what they believe they are worth. When there's a mismatch with what they thought they were supposed to have as white men and what society has given them as white men, they turn into, we were Vikings, I was a fucking Viking in a past life, I am the superior race automatically, and you should respect that. It's a coping mechanism that is infinitely dangerous, infinitely more dangerous than any other type of coping mechanism in a society that was built around white entitlement and white supremacy. If this is the alternative on the other side is nowhere near as damning or damaging, because the alternative does not have structural violence backing this kind of behavior. Okay? Just want everybody to understand that. Like the people on 4chan immediately would be like, oh, what do you mean? Like, we was Kangs. Like, it's like there is no equivalent because there is no structural support afforded to black people to enact systemic violence on white people as there is structural support and systemic violence enacted on black people at the behest of white supremacy. Okay? It just doesn't work that way. It only goes one direction. You might not like it. You might feel like this makes you lose a debate or whatever, but it is just the reality, okay? How do you rehabilitate someone like this if he survived? You move him away from this environment. You move him away from the online community immediately. If you didn't see some of the evidence that the right is denying is on his gun, scroll down to the last picture. Yeah, people are of course like first he went to Edward Waters University. He was told to fuck off, and then he went and he found a dollar store. Shooter's father called the police after the shooting started. He had swastikas on his gun, obviously, and numerous other random carvings on his gun. Yeah, it's such a classic story at this point. I mean, it's been happening nonstop, especially under the Trump administration. It happened quite a bit, and it's only upping the frequency because we just have no way to deal with it spiritually. Okay? There is a multitude of different reasons for why this kind of thing happens in the United States of America with way more frequency than anywhere else. Obviously, mass availability of guns is one of them. But if you want to talk about if you want to have a more holistic approach, there's a couple different reasons. One, the white entitlement not matching the white material conditions that certain people experience, where they are like, why am I being wronged when, my parents told me I'm supposed to amount to something so much better than this? I'm not getting this. I'm not getting, the output does not represent what the input is supposed to be like, or what the input promised me. Okay? There's that aspect. And then America's interest in violence. America is a spiritual problem as well, with respect to how much violence that we do overseas, how much violence that we even do domestically and totally normalize in the hands of the police, how much violence that we do overseas to other people, and the negligence or the disdain that we feel for those victims of violence overseas. That kind of thing, of course, is going to have a genuine negative consequence in the minds of Americans. If there's so much violence all around you and you've normalized it, you are of course going to act out in this way. Okay? Overseas violence perpetuated by the U.S. Armed Forces has always been ignored and almost glorified. Exactly. The shooter had also been previously Baker acted, forcibly hospitalized for psychiatric issues, yet he could legally purchase the guns. Well, that's very Florida. It's nice. Anyway, so yeah, we also do a lot of structural violence to the poor and the homeless. We do a lot of racialized violence to black people, brown people in their communities that police are basically occupying like an occupying force. All of this has created a perfect environment for these kinds of things to happen over and over and over again. You know what I mean? That's it. We have more prisons than colleges. UNC school shooters still active. I'm in a classroom. Yeah, if you're in UNC, keep your head down. I don't know what else to say other than that. So This shit happens everywhere. Fucking libtard. Yeah, you're right. I'm a fucking libtard because I think that it's very odd that we have had 25,000 people killed by guns so far when we're like basically just past the halfway point of the year. That's why I am a libtard. I'm talking about a white supremacist terrorist today, and while I'm talking about it, there's another mass shooting happening at UNC right now. There's chatters in here that are fucking watching under a goddamn desk in their fucking classrooms, and you're calling me a libtard for being like, that shit's fucked up. Yeah, you're right. I'm a libtard because bullets should be hailing literally every day, and we should just have Kevlar umbrellas for it and move on, you know? Because we're red-blooded patriots or something. I don't fucking know at this point. Incredible stuff. Thank you. Thank you for normalizing this kind of shit that occurs on a daily basis.
For sense and a senseless act of violence.
Police say the suspect, 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmetter, first arrived at Edward Waters University, a nearby historically black university, at 12:48 p.m. and put on a bulletproof vest. Police using this video as part of their investigation, showing the suspect getting dressed before the shooting. Campus security confronts him, tells him to leave, and later notifies law enforcement.
EWU flags down JSO officer and says there's a suspicious person on campus. He had an opportunity to do violence. In EWU, he did not.
At 1:08 p.m., surveillance video outside the Dollar General shows the shooter, without warning, firing 11 rounds into 52-year-old Angela Michelle Carr's Kia, killing her. The gunman then walks into the store and shoots 19-year-old employee Arnault Joseph Legary Jr. And minutes later, after multiple witnesses flee out the back of the store, 29-year-old Gerald Gallion enters, the shooter killing him and missing his girlfriend.
At 1:14 and 23 seconds, the suspect enters the office. At 1:18, the suspect texts his father and says, use a screwdriver to get into my room. The father enters the room and finds a last will and testament of the suspect along with a suicide note on his laptop.
The family eventually calling police, but by that time, the rampage was over, the shooter taking his own life as officers arrived on the scene. All of this carnage happening in a little over 10 minutes. Investigators finding writings on the gunman which they say contained racist and hateful ideology, as well as a painted swastika on one of the firearms. They say the suspect was involuntarily held for 72 hours at a mental health facility as a minor in 2017, but that he had no prior criminal history and purchased his guns, a handgun and an AR-15 style rifle, legally.
There was no criminal record, nothing. There was nothing that we could have done to stop him from owning a firearm, a rifle, or a handgun. There was no red flags.
It was hatred.
Bro, what do you mean? Wait, what? Brother, sisters, if you are 5150'd, you should not be able to buy a gun legally, okay? Sorry. Like, literally, if you are involuntarily held, you should not be able to buy a gun legally. What do you mean? And it doesn't matter. Even if you're fucking suicidal and not a danger to others, you still shouldn't be able to buy a gun legally. You want to know why? Because what the fuck are you going to do with the gun? You're going to kill yourself with the gun. That's it. More than half of the fucking gun deaths in this goddamn country are suicides. Have you played the same part where the chief starts going hog about guns? Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Yeah. Guns just make it much easier. We're definitely about to get some That's Ableist chatters. Remember, chat? Yes, we're being ableist right now. You should not have a gun. Oh, yeah. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, dude, I'm ableist. Blind people should not be able to fucking drive cars, okay? Ableism. It's fucking awesome, okay? There you go. I said it. I am 100% an ableist when it comes to depressed people, clinically depressed people owning fucking firearms in their homes, okay? Sorry. You know, no shot. Nope, not allowed. There are plenty of fucking veterans in this chat who will also agree with me. What the fuck do you mean? There's also plenty of veterans who won't agree with me on this because, you know, they love guns. But it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Do not own a firearm. There's a reason why when I click the run the ad button, you get, if you're a veteran, you get a fucking ad which is like, hey, please, the VA will give you a free lock on your gun case. And that in that 1.5 second of you, the time it takes for you to unlock your fucking gun case, you will be reminded not to kill yourself. That's America's way of dealing with veteran suicides, okay? That's how fucked up the situation is. Like, it's insane. that, like, we can't really do anything. We can't really do anything about it. We're not going to offer enough mental health care. We certainly can't stop you from having guns. So the VA has made an ad campaign where it's like, hey, guys, we'll give you a free lock for your gun case if you have one, so that, you know, in the 1 second to 30 seconds it takes for you to unlock your gun case, you'll reconsider shooting yourself in the fucking mouth. That's America's solution to PTSD suicide with a gun. Okay? We do not care. You will not touch this country. You will not touch this country's treats. Guns are treats. It's so perfectly crafted as an identity. It's not an accident that 25,000 gun deaths have happened so far in the middle of August. It's not an accident. It's by design.
For this individual who lived in another county and do a senseless act, it's just unacceptable.
The grieving community reflecting on the lives lost, like Gerald Gallion, a father of a 4-year-old daughter. Loved ones saying she was everything to him.
When you look at this situation, knowing that you have to tell your granddaughter, how do you make sense of all that?
I don't know. I'm just gonna have to pray and ask God to give me the words and the strength to sit her down and tell her, because she's so young. And all she...
Gun deaths by suicide and mass shootings have been a problem for quite a while. It's such as school shootings, man. It's been a very long time. Well, yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's just school shootings. I've never said it's just school shootings. I always talk about how it's it is literally the tip of the iceberg, okay? School shootings are just the tip of the iceberg. It's just like the most unjustifiable version of a structure that is like infinitely unjustifiable from top to bottom, but that is like the maximum level of unjustifiable. Bro, we had a fucking kindergarten mass shooting. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, it is so fucked up. Like, that's it. There's nothing else. After that, there's nothing else. That is so much violence, so much pure, unadulterated cruelty. You can't do anything after that.
He knew it's her daddy.
That grandmother tells me that they still haven't figured out how to tell Gerald's 4-year-old daughter the news. She's dreading the conversation. Now, as for this investigation, the FBI is now looking at this as a hate crime. Rebecca.
Alex Perche, thank you, Alex.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts.
Anyway, DeSantis did a fucking Jacksonville shooting vigil, which was like his own Pete Buttigieg moment, I guess. Like, I know there's a shooting at UNC, chat. I know.
We're going to ask the governor if he would come now and bring remarks.
Well, thank you for doing this. I want to just say to the councilwoman, I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help, one, make sure there's adequate security for Edward Waters College. We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
Okay, listen, y'all. Let me tell you, we finna put parties aside, cause it ain't about parties today. A bullet don't know a party, so don't get me started. Okay, Jacoby is nice, but Ann is not. Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts, because we've been through enough already, and I don't want to go through no more. Now, y'all just be quiet just a minute and let the governor say what he gonna say, and we gonna get this party started. You hear me? Okay, let's do it.
So we have already...
She's in a weird predicament because, like, you know, this guy's a fucking giant piece of shit, and you know, he has played a role in white supremacy thriving in his state, like personally utilized it as an opportunity to you know, make campaign messages, but also at the same time is like, well, he's the governor, you know what I mean? He has to give fucking money. It's a weird position. Lady, he ain't bringing shit. He's just there to farm what votes. It doesn't matter. By design, in order to farm votes, it's nasty. It's a nasty situation, but by design, in order to farm votes, he will actually probably put funds towards that community. It's really fucked up, but that is America. And at a certain point, you have to be fucking pragmatic. Not that she's doing the right thing there. I mean, but there's no other situation where you have to play ball with the governor. You know what I mean? You have to play ball with the governor who himself currently is running a national campaign and wants black voters to vote for him as well. And that's part of the reason why he has to fucking dump money into that region to make it seem like he gives a shit, while simultaneously playing this song and dance where he hypes the racial agitation. He hypes up the racial agitation as much as possible.
He identified funds from the state of Florida. I've been in touch with Dr. Face.
He's also doing the weird, like, he's so fucking gross. I'm so glad they booed the shit out of him, by the way. He is so gross because he's doing like his like politician stump speech voice. Where he's like, we have identified funds and we're giving it to Jacksonville. Like, what are you, fucking insane? You think they're supposed to cheer after that? Like, you're expecting claps? Yeah, here, by the way, I know I haven't seen this yet, but I'm willing to bet that this guy didn't fucking hate DeSantis all that much, because over the last year, neo-Nazis in Florida who have openly shown their support for DeSantis, and he has refused to condemn them. Instead, his campaign featured a neo-Nazi symbol. Now a neo-Nazi shot and killed 3 people in a racially motivated mass shooting in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? Because, like, I haven't seen his manifesto yet, but it's not like Ron DeSantis has been openly shitting on the Nazis that are protesting all around Florida and saying they love Ron DeSantis. When neo-Nazis openly carried his campaign flag, DeSantis refused to condemn them and attacked journalists for even asking him about it. He said that people trying to smear him by even asking him to condemn neo-Nazis. So yeah. No one likes him, Lamau, not Trump, not the GOP, not the fucking public, only Nazis. Yeah, young Republicans are super groiped up, okay? They are incredibly groiped up. They're like unbearable fucking Nazis. They're unbearable fascists. They're incredibly nerdy about their fascism. And they like Ron DeSantis because they think he's like a clinical fascist who's going to go in and enact their will like he has done in Florida. You want to know why? Because they're fucking stupid. They're in a goddamn echo chamber, and they think people respond positively to this level of like out and about, openly directed fascist violence in America right now. Now, there might be an appetite for it in the future. It certainly seems like it, but you still have to mask it. Okay? You have to push the institutions to enact a white supremacist agenda while simultaneously denying that it exists. The moment that you go out and you fucking hit the Sig Heil, it's over. Every fucking old racist is going to look at that and go, that's gross. What are you doing? The Nazis are the Democrats, not us. That type of shit. That's why most Southerners utilize Confederate imagery to invoke the same feelings. Okay? It's more of a spiritual defense of the South and Southern culture and heritage. It's Southern pride. It's not white pride. You know what I mean? Even though it's very obvious what they're fucking defending. Maybe some of them don't know because it's that personally embedded in their educational structure and that personally embedded in their media.